Alright, for question one, this is a fairly simple ask. There's 8 files in Classic Models, and we're going to be creating our first data mart, which is just a copy of the existing database with some cleaning that we're doing to it. So we're going to take existing tables and make a copy of it. So in order to do this, we need to lift some code. So I'm going to do this um, just like I would do it if I was a new analyst. I would say copy, paste, new base SQL. Okay, so I'm including the search function um, to show you how I would search for it and kind of the language that I'd use. So copy and paste new database SQL. That's not a very technical search, but that's exactly what we're looking to do. Because we don't want to do a whole new database. We're going to do a new database table. So I'm going to copy tables from one database to another. I don't really need to do it from one database to another. I just need to copy within the database. I mean, that shouldn't matter. So duplicate tables. Perfect. This is actually from... I don't usually look at the Microsoft ones. Let's look at Tutorial Republic and see what they got. Here we go. So this is pretty promising. I'm going to lift that code, and I'm not going to save that link. That's up to you to find it. So I'm going to go more and more towards leaving it up to you to find these things. But so I'm going to insert into. I'm going to keep this as I'm going to call it test new table from. In the example, I'm looking at offices, but here I'm going to look at employees, and I'm going to run this. Let's see what happens. All right, so let's see if it did it. Let's refresh. And man, this is going slow. Oh, and it gave me an error. So table does not exist. Okay, so what do I do next? Well, I'm going to go right back to Google. All right, so I'm going to I'm going to create a new table from existing table in SQL. Alright, so let's do this. Create table from existing table. Okay, so we're going to create new table. And we're going to, let's just copy this code. Yeah. Copy this straight up. Let's call this new table employees. Yeah, we're going to select, let's select all from employees. And then we're not going to put a where statement. We're just going to do it, see what happens. Okay, it looks like it ran it. And we don't see it here yet because we got to hit refresh. Refresh. Oh, here it is. New table employees. Let's see if it populated. And it did. Cool. Alright, now let's play with this code a little bit. Now, if I try to do this again, it's going to error on me because it's already, this table already exists. So, yep, already exists. So, what we can do is now we have something called a drop table. So, let's do drop table SQL. Let's see what code we need for this. It's this drop table. So if, I think I'm worried about, if there's an error, what's going to happen? Well, like if you're trying to drop a table that doesn't exist, what's going to happen? Well, we don't know. but let's try it. There we go. Now it does delete it and it creates it. So when you're troubleshooting your SQL code for this assignment, you can always have the drop table and then it'll create it. That way you're starting from scratch. So you're not messing with modifying the table that you built. You're just dropping it, starting from scratch. So now we can get creative with this. Maybe we don't want all of these columns, right? Maybe we just want last name, first name, and employee number. Well, if we want to do that, do employee number. I have a name. Last name, first name. Cool. Let's see what that looks like. Let's refresh this. Play around with it. Now we're manipulating data. Let's see what it looks like. Hey, look at that. It's just those 3 rows. Now, let's start to get creative. What if we have last name, we have first name, but we want a row that's last name, first name. So we can do something called a Concat, and that's going to bring in 2 strings together. So we're going to put last name, first name. I think I've got the syntax wrong on this. Well, that's fine. As full name. So we're going to actually name this. Let's see if this runs. Hey, it actually ran. Let's see if it made it. And it did. It's got a weird space in it. That's fine. Because let's look at how to fix that. SQL concat with space. So I hope you're getting. I hope you're feeling good that this is a something that you're going to Google and get used to actually like the searching of it. So here's a great example. This is a cast function, which does not work with MySQL. So we're not going to use this solution. You're going to try it, and if you're like me, when I first started learning this, you're going to try this for 30 minutes, 2 hours, until you finally find a thread where it says something like, oh, MySQL has a specific way of doing this. You can't use cast, but you can use MySQL. So SQL Server, you use cast, but MySQL, you use concat, and then you just do this. So again, I've said this over and over, but we need to get comfortable with knowing that we're not going to know all the answers. So here we go, and that looks perfect. Actually, you know what? We want a comma in there. So this is like comma inception. Alright, so let's try this. It's dropped it. Looks good. Okay, so that's good. Now, let's do a case statement. Alright, so we're going to do this, and we're going to do a case statement. And if you're going to do this from scratch, so let's get the case function. We're going to put the case, so it's after select and before from. So I'm just going to copy this code. I'm going to go after select and before from. And I'm going to do a case statement in here. And what I'm going to say is, let's look at the employees table and see what we want to do a case for. Let's say if the office code is 1, if the office code is 1, bring in the job title. If it's not, then we will leave it the same. Okay, just for an example. So if it's office code 1, bring the job title over. Otherwise, leave it as office code. So if it's 6, it would stay 6. But if it's 1, president, VP sales, VP marketing. This is just an example. This example doesn't really make sense, but I'm just trying to fulfill the assignment. So I'm going to do that with this and say when. I should not have closed that. So I'm going to say when office code equals 1. Wait, get the correct case here. Then this is going to equal job title. So one thing I need to add in here is if you try to drop a table that doesn't exist, in MySQL at least, just add if exists, and that gets you past this error. So I'm trying to, I'm clean this up, and when the office code equals 1, give me the job title, else, this is from the code I lifted off Google, this is going to look funny, that's fine. So let's see what it looks like. Cool. Alright, so now instead of doing that weird default code, let's use office code. Alright, so let's refresh this. And there it goes. So right now we've got a cleaned column where you've done this case statement and you've found something that's happened, some situation that you want, and if it met the criteria, then it creates that column for you. So that's what you need to do from question 1. Now the thing that's going to be unique is you're messing with null values. So let's look at how you interact with null values here. Let's look at the employees and let's see if reports to is null, then bring the job title over. Let's do that case statement. So I'm going to reconfigure this. I call this cleaned reports to. Okay, and so if reports to is null, because it's going to be the president, because the president reports to nobody except maybe the shareholders. If you follow that argument, so reports to equals, so you're not going to do equals null, you're going to do is null, then bring over the job title. Otherwise, bring over who they report to. So let's run this, see if that runs. Looks like it did run. We'll refresh this, and there we go. So now that's how you interact with a null. You use is null instead of equals null. So that'll be important for question 1. So this is a 15-minute long video, and it's kind of winding, and it's supposed to be, because I want to be less direct with the answers. But everything you need to answer question 1 is in this video.